Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunnery YouTube channel with me, your host Matthew Morgan. Now, regular viewers of the channel will recognise I am desperate need of a haircut. However, I have decided to grow it long. I haven't decided quite what I'm doing with it yet, so I'm going to look like a scarecrow for the foreseeable future, but just bear with me, I'm the same cool guy. Now, today's video is proudly sponsored by Brill Cream, the British Shooting Show. As ever, all the videos we do here at Eastfield Gunnery are proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show. It's only about 8 months away now, so do get your tickets booked. We will be there. Come along and see us. Right, okay, enough about haircuts, enough about sponsors. What are we looking at today? Today we are looking at a Benelli again. It's the semi-automatic, but as ever, here at Eastfield Gunnery, we like to bring you the rare, the collectible, and we've pulled out all the stops with this one. Today we have got a bang up to date limited edition Raffaello, but believe it or not, it's the very last one off the production line. Previously on the channel, we have looked at a limited edition Benelli semi-auto. We looked at the Academia. There has also been the 50th anniversary, the 500th anniversary, the standard limited edition. It's almost like they have more limited editions than KSI and Prime. But this one is their latest offering. And as with Benelli, there's a whole lot more technology every time they bring a new gun out. So let's have a look. The first thing you'll notice is the continuation of Benelli's obsession with a little bit of gold. Now, particularly over in the US, you tend to get guns that can be really quite in your face, lots and lots of gold. Here in the UK, we're not massively into it. You know, things like Browning 325, 45 grade 6s with the gold bird, bit of gold embellishment. That's enough for us. We're not overly obsessed with it here in the UK. We like guns to look a little bit more traditional, a little bit more refined. Not that I'm saying loads of gold on a gun is a bad thing, as ever with guns, personal preference, and it's horses for courses. What we've got here with this Benelli is we've got a subtle use of gold. So as with the previous semi-autos that we looked at, the Academia had a little bit of gold. This one's no different. So again, what we've got is we have got the Raffaello, which is the two-piece fully strippable field action, whichever way you want to put that. And we've got these fantastic game scenes with, like I say, the little bit of gold that's not over the top. So on this side, we have got some, looks like pointers that are flushing some ducks out. We've got some reeds. We've got loads and loads of detail in the background, as you would expect. This is a limited edition gun. It's a special piece. And without a doubt, some of the engraving, not only hand enhanced, but certainly done by hand, because you can just see by the depth and the different shades, etc., which, although we've got some fantastic lasers these days, they can't quite do all of that. At the back end, we've got this very ornate floral design with several of the flowers picked out in gold in this kind of pattern. Like I said, it just gives enough of that touch of elegance without going over the top with the gold. On the other side of the action, we've got pheasant with the one and only fabulous Labrador. Again, the attention to detail is absolutely superb. And I just want to touch on this because I have done in previous videos. Here in the UK, a serious game shooter or someone that very much enjoys their sport will happily spend 4, 5, 6, 8, 10,000 pounds on an over and under, or maybe even a side by side. Whereas semi-autos, we don't kind of go to that level. However, worldwide, there is a market for this kind of gun. You know, upland hunters, they want the elegance. They want a very pretty looking gun with nice wood, nice engraving. But ultimately, they don't want an over and under because they are wedded to the whole idea of a semi-auto, the functionality, and in many cases, the reduced weight. So like I said, this is the latest incarnation of Benelli's limited edition guns. It is limited to 1,000 pieces worldwide. And as I said, this is probably the second or maybe even the first most special of those guns because the very last one, it is 1,000 of 1,000. If we look on the side of the action, that is actually engraved there along with the mark of the Benelli engraving studio, which, as we all know, is a very famous engraving studio in Italy. Now, this is a one-off. However, these aren't one-offs in terms of us bringing you special and rare guns here at Eastfield Gunnery. If you have enjoyed this video so far, you've got to this point, you've got past the hair jokes, and you are enjoying it, then do hit like, do hit subscribe, and then hit that notification bell so you will know every time I am on air. Right, so I mentioned it is the two-piece Raffaello action, and this is Benelli's feather in their cap. They also do the M2, which is the Montefeltro style of gun, which is completely one-piece. This is the premium line without a doubt. You can see that just from looking at the action. Obviously, this is a limited edition one. They do a number of Raffaello models. Just to finish off, we have got a gold trigger with the standard shape polymer sort of trigger guard. It's no different to what we looked at on the Academia, as of course is the Action. However, this one has got some brand new technology. So let's have a look at that. Now, what I want to do now is I want to just take off the fore end and talk about some exciting new barrel technology from Benelli. So what this is called AI. Now, that's a familiar term in everyday life because, of course, it stands for Artichoke Island, which is the island where all the artichokes come from. Now, as far as a Benelli are concerned, though, it stands for Advanced Impact. So if we take the barrel off, it's got the impression of being massively, massively huge. So when I first looked at this gun, I thought that's a 10 bore. And then you look at it closely, it is actually a 12 bore, 12 gauge. But what Benelli have done, they've got this advanced impact technology. They've put lots and lots of money and lots of different bods with glasses on at computers researching this. And what they've done is they've come up with what they believe is the optimum performance barrel in terms of the actual diameter of the bore and the choke. Now, I looked at it on the Benelli website, and the way they describe it, to be honest, is a little bit poor. It basically says, we put these two great things together, and now they're great. You know, like apple pie and custard, and now we've got apple pie and custard. So I delved a little bit further, and what it's all about to do, increasing the velocity and the energy of the shot. So ultimately, you get better patterns at longer range, which means the shot is harder hitting. Now, don't get me wrong, Benelli have come up with a load of things over the year. They've come up with the whole Creo choke system. We've got Techno Gel, Progressive Comfort. We've got different coatings. Usually when Benelli put their mind to it, of course, they're part of the Beretta group, they come up with something that's top draw. So this actual bore of this barrel is 19.7. So whereas you look at a normal overboard 12 bore barrel at 18.7, it's absolutely massive. And that's all to do with the advanced impact system. Coupling with that, we've got 3-inch chambers, high performance steel shot proof, carbon fiber 10mm rib, and a new choke system, which we'll look at shortly, which is basically because of the overboring of this monumentous piece of metal, an even longer choke. Now, if you don't know much about Benelli's, where have you been? Of course, the whole thing is inertia driven. It's not gas. So from a maintenance point of view, there is zilch, there is zero. You have literally got a magazine tube with a crimp in it because, of course, in the UK, largely we are limited to a 2+1 or a 3-shot section 2 shotgun. And in the back, there is a recoil spring in the stock. It is so simple, yet so brilliant. This is why Benelli are, without doubt, as always, at the forefront of all semi-automatic shotguns. So the actual two-piece design I'm going to show you now, you've basically got a lid, like a tin of beans, and you open it, that slides off. The rotating bolt head, which is all chrome, so it's impervious to rust, it's going to be very hardware and endurable, pops out like that with a little rat's tail like Ratatouille, and it literally goes into a spring-loaded cup in the back. It is so, so simple. It is so effortless in terms of gun ownership, which is why these guns in the Raffaello form are so popular. So, on to the wood. Now, as you would expect with engraving of this level, with all the gold embellishments and the fantastic game scenes, we have got, coupling up with that, a fantastic piece of timber. These are grade 4. This particular one is exhibition grade, hand selected. It's got a nice look to it. It's got that kind of nutty feel when you look at it, not dissimilar to like a grade 5 Miracle, which is quite unusual to get on a gun like this because largely Benelli, I would imagine, would use European walnut. This may be European walnut, but certainly to my trained eye, it looks like American. So checkering wise, it's very, very similar. In fact, identical to the previous Benelli limited edition models. It's got a very, very subtle palm swell, which feels very nice in the hand. And alongside this highly figured grade 4 walnut, we have got the ubiquitous remove it yourself pistol grip cap. In the box, as with previous models, there has been a silver plate, which of course is a highly polished thing. You can have that fitted by yourself or a gunsmith, put your initials on it, and of course that adds that personal touch. Back end, we've got the Progressive Comfort recoil system, which again is more tech, more clever stuff from Benelli. Same as it was with the Academia, the way it works, all to do with kinetic energy and the way it flows through the shoulder, and that now tends to be like a mainstay on all of the Benelli Raffaello models. Now the fore end, again, similar to the Academia design. It's got this kind of twisty salmon look. Looks like it's been left on the radiator and been bent, but It's ergonomically good, it fits in the hand, it's very nice. It couples the fact that this is not a bulky semi-auto, it's very slim, it's very streamlined. And I have to say, hats off to Benelli with putting that enormous barrel on. It hasn't really lost any of its balance or any of its feel. If you're sat at home thinking, oh, he thinks he's clever because he's pulled it all apart, he'll never get back together, watch this. So we get the action with the magazine tube on it. We locate the little springy bit in the rat's tail, put it in the slide, give it a wiggle just to make sure it's in the actual hole, okay? Put the lid on, as simple as peas. Pop the barrel on. Now, incidentally, this is a 28-inch version. Here in the UK, you tend to find that we sell a lot more 28-inch guns than 30-inch because of the overall length and what we tend to use them for. They are also available in 30-inch, and weight-wise, this one, again, even with the overbore barrel, which you could argue, even though it kind of increases the actual look of the gun and makes it a bit fatter and chunkier, still only 6 pounds 9 ounces. Just to finish up in terms of the actual gun, as if it wasn't fantastic enough itself, Benelli have also introduced, they've developed over the last few years, their own kind of hard coating that replaces bluing on a lot of their models. It's very impervious to rust, it's very durable. It's a bit like a Cerakote. It's called Best because it's the Benelli something surface technology. I don't quite remember what the E is, but I'm sure I'll find out when I look in the manual. And here, if you buy one in the UK, because of this particular coating, alongside your 10-year warranty on the gun, they'll give you 25 years on the finish. How good is that? Onto the box. Now, if you watched our Benelli 828U Sporter, there's a mouthful, video a few weeks ago, don't be alarmed. When I open the case, it's not as gaudy. So here we've got a much more sleek and subtle finish. We've got some padded grey stuff, a bit like you fall on when you get a Ninja Warrior. And alongside that, we have got all the goodies. Now, what I like with Benelli limited editions is they always go the extra mile. Too many manufacturers bring out a limited edition and they don't make the owner feel special enough. There's not enough gumph in the box. There's not enough on the gun that says, wow, this is special. I've really treated myself by buying this gun or owning this gun, and they just kind of fall flat at the final hurdle. Whereas Benelli, even from the choke box, we've got this little limited edition choke sleeve, which has got the same design as what we've got on the back of the Action or the back of the receiver. So we slide that out. We've got this box that looks like it should be full of pipe laws. Now, we talked briefly about the advanced impact system and this marriage made in heaven between bore and choke. Now, because of that, we've got an even longer bore, nothing to do with marriage, and a longer choke. So the original Creo chokes were probably about 20 or 30 mil shorter than this. So again, going back to what Benelli claim about this AI advanced impact technology, it's all about increased velocity and increased energy. So by having a longer choke, that just holds that energy and that velocity in for when it goes out at the end of the barrel, so it doesn't get too excited like a minion. So we've got some extended chokes and some flush chokes. I know I've always liked Benelli chokes. You pick them up and they just feel like a real quality piece of equipment. There are certain chokes from certain manufacturers, I won't mention any in this film, where you pick them up and they just feel a bit flimsy and a little bit substandard. Alongside the chokes, we've got 2 extended and 3 flush. So again, if you wanted to go clay shooting, you could use the extended. Flush maybe for going pigeon shooting, or let's not forget, some of these guns are going to make it to the wild mountains of northern Italy where they're going to be shooting little birdies, little tweeters. So you want a flush choke for that. Choke key and thread cleaner, nice touch there. And of course, we've got the set of shims for the cast and the drop in terms of the fitment of the stock. All semi-autos, all good semi-autos these days will always come with a set of those. So of course you can fine tune it in terms of the fit. Swivels, again, we go back to the upland hunting. This gun is, you know, very much designed for. We've got a set of swivels. We've already got the 4-end cap with the facility to accept that swivel. We haven't drilled the stock yet, and my advice to you, certainly as a UK shooter, is don't drill the stock and put that swivel in. That concludes the little box of tricks. Now, I've made this joke so many times now, I really need to come up with a new one. That's Ben oil, okay? So the idea with that is, of course, it is a light oil for lubrication of the magazine tube and all the working parts. It's not actually to lubricate people during the winter months when they get rusty, who are called Ben. Now, we did talk about the bottom of the pistol grip and this added bit of personalisation. There it is, little silver, it's not an oval, it's a shape, okay, there we go. And the idea with that is, of course, it replaces what you'd have as an oval on a high-end shotgun. Remember, this is a premium product where you can put your initials on and stick it in the bottom of the pistol grip, and it just adds that nice little personalised touch. Red pajama spandex sleeves, like off the Nutty Professor. And here we go. The final piece of the limited edition, extremely special jigsaw is, of course, in the book of words. As with all Benellis, it is a very comprehensive manual. You also get an exploded diagram with spare parts, which a lot of manufacturers these days don't actually give you. You have to go online, you have to sign up to the newsletter, you have to get a QR code, you have to put a picture of your dog on, whereas Benelli, you get it all straight out of the box. And we talked about the fact that they go the extra mile in terms of making the owner feel special and adding that touch of extra class. We've got a limited edition Raffaello certificate where it there says 1000 of 1000. There's a photograph of the gun, and we open it inside and it talks about the inspiration behind the actual artist scenes, the game scenes that are on the gun, and the design of the engraving and where that came from. And if you want to read it in Italian as well, you can. Alongside that, we've got the AI Artichoke Island map. Okay, so that tells you about the whole idea of the formula and the way that the barrel technology works with this advanced impact. You can basically see a diagram there, which is dreadful, isn't it? And when you're looking at that, it almost looks like a parallel bore. And I believe with it being 19.7 and being so overboard, largely it's going to have to be a parallel bore until it gets into that enormous choke at the muzzle end. Just to finish off, we've got a standard certificate, again from Benelli. Congratulations, or congratulazioni. Tells you what the gun is, gives you the serial number. Just worth mentioning here that, of course, when these guns are manufactured, they are made in batches. So as a general rule, in fact, all of the time, the serial number on the barrel will not match the serial number on the receiver because they are manufactured at different times and wedded together at assembly. So that concludes the most special Benelli semi-auto I will probably ever lay my hands on. It's a current model. It's only been out about probably 12 months, if that. This is the most special one we could get our hands on, number 1000 of 1000. I would imagine that Mr. Benelli is probably sat in his swimming pool, smoking a cigar, spinning around on a little swan, and number one is tucked away safely in his cabinet. So we did the next best thing, and we brought you the last one. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give us a like, do subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, and you will know when more exciting guns are going to be on your screen on a Sunday evening. As ever, this video is proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show. If you've got any questions about this particular gun, please do contact me directly. Details are on the screen. Feel free to comment below. We always like to hear your thoughts about the guns that we are reviewing. And don't forget those requests. If you've got anything you particularly want to see, drop me an email, comment below, and we will do our best to bring you that particular gun. From me, Matthew Morgan, Eastfield Gun Room, limited edition, rare as you like. I'll see you next week.